River's Edge is a 1986 release thriller directed by Tim Hunter.
Yes, it's kind of loosely based on a real case, true story.
1981.
Very loosely, and it's focused on a group of teens in is it California?
Sacramento, I think.
Yeah.
The original thing was California.
Right. Sacramento is in California.
All right.
Geography fans.
North of where it actually took place.
I don't know. Anyway,
I've never been to California.
Me neither. It opens with a young boy on a bridge. He throws his sister's doll into the river, and then he sees on the riverbank like an older kid sat next to a naked body. Yeah, that's a friend of his brother's who's just killed a girl, and the plot basically revolves around this dead girl and the fact that this group of friends don't really report that she's been killed. It goes a couple of days before anyone realises that this has happened. Some of his friends, want to tell the police, and others want to protect him and hide this crime from the authorities. And it's kind of anti-John Hughes, really, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
It's
Yeah,
like the opposite of a John Hughes movie. So it stars Keanu Reeves, quite an early role for him, as the younger kid's brother that we see, and Crispin Glover, who's probably most famous for Back to the Future, I would say, as Lane, who is kind of just playing Crispin Glover, really. Isn't he?
Yeah, it's pretty much the same mannerisms as George McFly, just with a leather jacket on.
Yeah. And amped up a bit more.
A little bit, yeah.
And so, there's kind of a sort of, I guess, a struggle between his friends as to what they're going to do about this. And the guy who's actually committed the murder, John, he's kind of just sort of a bystander in all their decision making and what is actually going to happen to him. He's kind of, I don't know, kind of a bit out of it because of what he's done. He doesn't really know what to do with himself, whether to hand himself in or whether to just try and get away with it. He doesn't really seem to care that much, does he?
No, which I think what makes the film quite interesting, actually, because there's no motive. It's not like a motive type film. There's no moral here. It's all, he just kills this woman, his girlfriend. You're never sure if it's actually the girlfriend or it's just a woman he's taken out and then killed. He just literally, that's it. He's this kind of big giant with probably slightly a few things not right up here, it's quite a strange. Usually the killer in these films has a motive, has a dark past, and all this kind of stuff, and that's not here. He's just a young kid who's a bit like the rest of the kids in it. They're all kind of disaffected youths of 1980s America. I seem to like that in my cinema. Because this is probably it's quite similar to Suburbia, I guess. Yeah, I've always liked those. I mean, there's a kind of a list of other films similar to this one. So Gummo is another one that came out in '97, I think, which is again kind of small town America, kids on drugs, bad parenting, all that kind of stuff. Bully is another one by Larry Clark, and I think that came out in 2001, which is really good. Similar to this, actually, that also was based on a true story, but again, drugged out kids and no hope and all that kind of stuff. That's quite an interesting film.
I thought it was a little bit like Metal Skin as well that we covered.
A little bit like that, yeah, definitely. Yeah, those kind of working class urban kids,
sort of miserable existence and broken homes and just spend their time getting wasted and
exactly
doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, and then you've got there's Over the Edge.
We covered the Cobain documentary Montage of Heck a few weeks ago, and that was quite a heavy influence on Mr. Cobain.
It was, yes, indeed. And I can link this film to another Kurt Cobain documentary, Soaked in Bleach, because Daniel Roebuck, who plays John or Samson, the killer in this film, played the PI, goes looking for the real truth behind Kurt Cobain's death. Anyway, let's not go back onto that. Yeah, so this film is that kind of, it is like you say, it is the opposite to something like Breakfast Club or a lot of those John Hughes films that came out in the 80s that were kind of, thought they were doing something. Well, they were. I mean, some of those films were good, but, obviously they had their edgy kids in them. But obviously, in reality, you had almost darker kids and ways of life and real kind of small-town America those towns that seem to have been left behind somewhat. And I guess I probably fell in, you know, obviously we did Quadrophenia a few weeks ago, and those films I kind of skipped over because I was obviously the music I grew up listening to was a lot of heavy metal and rock music, and that's kind of, I suppose, why I gravitated to these kind of films over our kind of British counterparts doing similar subject matters. But I think this. I've seen this a few times. I like this film. It's got, I think the cast are really interesting. Obviously, we've got. Sorry, you say.
It got Dennis Hopper in there as well.
We have Dennis Hopper as a very strange bloke.
Is where they buy all their weed from, and
yeah,
and he claims to have killed a woman, at some point in his past, and he sort of kind of hints that he's on the run and sort of hiding out in this house.
I quite like the fact that they kind of play on, I mean, they do mention Easy Rider earlier in the film, but they kind of play on, he at one point he talks about how he used to be a biker, and he's lost his leg, and he's had this bike accident where he's like been knocked off the side of the road, and he's lost his leg, and this truck kind of runs over the leg, so he realises that's the end of his leg. But it's kind of a little bit similar to the end of Easy Rider, so it's kind of almost like they're playing on the fact that he's that same character. He's not, but it's kind of playing on the fact that the idea that maybe he could be, that's where his past lies.
It could be a shared cinematic universe, as that is the thing these days, isn't it?
It could well be. You never know. Yes, like a Marvel Easy Rider thing, mash-up, whatever. But he's quite an interesting character. But he's always so great to watch. He's such an enigma on screen. And you know, you got to love Dennis Hopper for complete nutcase that he is.
Although Crispin Glover makes him look quite
normal. He does, yeah. Crispin Glover kind of steals the show in this one. He's completely over the top, almost too over the top.
Yeah, it does verge on the ridiculous a couple of points, doesn't it? But I mean, he's so focused on kind of covering up this crime, and you kind of think, why? You know, when everyone's sort of backing away from it, and even the guy who did it kind of isn't really interested in protecting himself. Really,
no.
You kind of think, why are you persisting with this?
I mean, I guess, you know, they're all stoned most of the time.
Well,
You know what's going on. I don't know. There's this strange kind of attraction he has to this guy, to both, you know, wanting to kind of save him and look after him and keep him hidden from the authorities. But he is kind of full on, Crispin Glover. I think it's interesting because he's quite full on in Back to the Future, but he almost is kind of held back from being too over the top. But his character is quite OTT in that as well, and he has a lot of fun with it. I did read that apparently he came in to read for this film, and he had this crazy wig on, and he just like went all out for it, and the director wasn't that sure about whether to cast him or not, but gave him a shot, and he's all right. He's an odd bloke anyway. Have you ever seen that crazy interview on David Letterman?
I think so, a long time ago.
He's either off his face or something, or it's an act. I don't know. It's pretty nuts, but he's an interesting guy. I think Crispin Glover. He's done some quite interesting films over the years. And of course we've got Keanu Reeves, very young-looking Keanu Reeves. It was one of his first films. There was another one that came out around the same time called Brotherhood of Justice with Kiefer Sutherland, which was pretty terrible. And so we've got other people in. We've got Ione Skye, who was in, she was in Four Rooms that we covered a few months ago, or last year or whenever. She was in films like Say Anything with John Cusack, and not a huge amount of films over the years.
This was her first role.
This was her first role. Yeah, well, her father's famous. Her father's Donovan.
Oh, right, yeah.
The singer from Scotland.
Yep. If you say so.
I don't know. I think so. And there's also Joshua John Miller, who most of you will know from Near Dark, because I think this and that are probably the only two films. No, he's done other stuff, but they're the films I know him from.
Yeah.
He's quite a distinctive-looking young guy. Yeah, so I think, you know, I think this is an interesting film. Probably over here it might not be that well known in this country. It's probably more, you know, known in its original country, America. And it's got an interesting soundtrack. You know, if you grew up listening to heavy metal and punk and all that, you've got bands like Slayer and Agent Orange and the Wipers are on there. But then there's a kind of an odd orchestral soundtrack as well, which I found a little bit out of place, actually. It's almost teetering on, I don't know, kind of 80s noir, which didn't always work for me. It was sometimes felt a little bit out of place. But yeah, I mean, if you know films like, I suppose, Suburbia that we covered in Gummo, and even maybe some of the documentaries like Hype and Montage of Heck and things like that, it feels that kind of, you know, that real kind of out of America. You know, we're not in Hollywood here. We're, you know, way off the yellow brick road and into some kind of off the beaten track kind of town in the middle of nowhere where there's nothing ever happens. So, but I think it's got some of the cinematography is quite nice. It's all very dull and wet and grainy and stuff like that. But I think it's really good. I'd recommend it. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I mean, I hadn't heard of it, but it's got a great cast, and I didn't really know what to expect, but no, it was good. Yeah, everyone was really good in it, and I didn't realise that Dennis Hopper and Keanu Reeves had done anything together before Speed. So
there you go. Yeah, they don't share a scene. There's one scene where they're both in the scene, but they don't actually share any dialogue or anything like that. But I think it's obviously it's not a film that's going to be for everyone. As I said before, I do like to look at a few reviews of this, and you go onto IMDb. There's a lot of people who hate this film, terrible acting, all this kind of stuff. But it's not. If you like something a little bit different, if you want to look at maybe a little bit different way of life, way of American life, not the American dream, then I think this is quite an interesting one. If you liked our film, the film Suburbia that we covered before, then this would probably be up your street. Yeah. Things like that. I mean, it's I suppose if you want to go anywhere, the big famous youngster films, I suppose maybe Stand By Me, because those kids are quite they come from bad, disrupted homes and things like that. Obviously, that film's probably maybe not quite as gritty as this one, but I think they
both got sort of dark humour in them, haven't they?
There's some dark humour in there, yeah. And obviously, this was inspired by Choose. I mean, that story, but that's quite similar because the guy killed his girlfriend and then invited all his friends to come and see this body. Yeah. So,
but I think that's basically where the similarity ends.
That's where it ends.
No one reported the murder for a couple of days, and then the film takes that and sort of runs with it, in its own direction. So none of the characters in it are based on real people or anything. It's just that one event is what inspired the film.
But I think it does. I mean, I think these films are quite interesting because they do kind of get you to question what you might do in such a situation. Yeah. Would you, obviously if you're 15 or 16 or something, I would hope that I would have gone and tell the authorities straight away. But then if you're all friends, the way you are with your friends back then to how we are now is probably a little bit different. Yeah. But I think it's quite, there are morality questions in there, definitely. Whether they are answered at the end of the film, well, you have to go and watch it to find that one out. But no, I think it's got some interesting questions in there, and I think it's an interesting story. And I would recommend it.
Yeah,
personally. Definitely. If you like some of the other films we've covered, and you know what we're into, then we recommend it. And you can see it. It's actually on Blu-ray.
Yeah.
So it must be quite popular somewhere. I've got it. Is it Syndicate Signal Ones?
Yeah, that little small label that put out some cult stuff.
Right. Okay. Because I think it's is it Keanu
Glover released it in the States, but it doesn't have any of those features on, I don't think.
Oh right. Okay. So
that's that's probably the best version that you can get at the moment.
Yeah, we've got a commentary with the director. We've got a filmed introduction with Richard Linklater. Of course, if you like Richard Linklater films, there's a few similarities between his stuff and this.
He's a big fan of it.
Right. Richard Linklater question and answers as well. I haven't watched any of these, obviously. I should watch these. Ryan bought this recently and then lent it to you to watch. So
they're very interesting. Check them out.
I shall definitely do that. And it was nice quality.
Yeah, no, it was good. Yeah, it was all good.
Excellent stuff. Well,
check it out.
Shocking and unforgettable. So we recommend that one. Give that one a go. And that was River's Edge. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, let us know in the comments below.
Yeah, hit the subscribe button up there if you've liked what you've watched. And there's some other videos over there to check out. Come and find us on Twitter and Facebook. And join us next week for another video.